Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, everyone. We are live. My name is Andrew, and thank you for joining the launch pad. Today, we have a live view of Starbase as SpaceX prepares Booster 7 for a static fire attempt. Now, we do believe that there will be a static fire today because of an overpressure notice that has been sent to local residents. And all of the preparations that we've seen SpaceX do today do indicate that they are counting down to a static fire attempt in relatively short time here. Now, we don't exactly know what time the static fire will happen, but the fact that we do see this venting activity from the bottom of Booster 7 in the OLM and the orbital tank farm do indicate that they are in process. The pad is clear. Road is obviously closed. So we will be looking out for those key indicators that we are going to get closer to the static fire. So very good, very good. How is everybody doing? Let me know if you can hear me. I see a couple 5x5s in chat. Thank you for that. Let me know where you're watching from. And thanks for joining us here today. This should be a fun set of tests. We do know that we expect at least one static fire today, but it is entirely possible that we might see multiple. So let's see what we got. If you missed any of that, I was just saying we do expect to see some static fire attempts, at least one, though it's entirely possible that we may be seeing multiple today. So let's keep an eye out on the orbital tank farm activity and see if we eventually see Booster 7 get prop load. And those are the things we're looking out for. West is watching from west of Antarctica. Slow Neutron is watching from LX. What is LX? James is watching from Ohio. Dreadnoughts is watching from southeast England. Timothy says, I can hear you. I'm from Alabama. Very nice, very nice. We got people looking from all over. Thanks for joining us here today. In the meantime, while we wait, stand by just a moment here. Tree Fingers, thank you for being a VIP spectator. Thank you, Tree Finger 6. We appreciate you being here and hanging out with us and chatting. We appreciate all the support that everybody gives us here. You know, even if you're just popping in to chat or watching along. Any memberships and super chats, those all help us do what we want to do, and that is come out here and bring you coverage of what SpaceX is doing. And not everybody can get down here, so we want to bring that content to you. I am noticing that we have a quick camera freeze here. I'll address that now. Treefinger says, you are welcome. Great work in Boca Chica. Thank you. Thank you. Mike S says, fire that pineapple up. All right, we're seeing a lot of venting happening at the orbital tank farm right now, which is great. If anybody has questions while we're waiting to see this test progress towards static fire, let us know and we'll do our best to answer any questions that you do have. Don't necessarily need to be related to Starship or Starbase, but SLS is coming up on Monday as well, so if you have any questions about SLS or NASA or anything along those lines, yeah, please feel free to drop those in the chat. We will do our best to answer those for you. The camera is a little bit jiggly today, but we will, as we get closer to T0 of a static fire, we're gonna cut our engine so that we have the most stable shot possible for the static fire. So don't worry about that. Just a little while ago, we actually got a flyby of 2 military jets that are arriving at South Padre Island for an air show this weekend, which was really cool. They did a flyover of Starbase and did some demonstration work, went into some loops and all that cool stuff, and that was really, really awesome to see. Not really loops, but they did some cool maneuvers. Roger M says, not a surprise if we see a static fire with a full stack Starship around SLS launch days. Musk can't be without the spotlight. I mean, they've been ramping up to this. I mean, we've had static fires over the last couple months, and you know, they got Booster 7 back down to the pad just a few days ago. So it seems to make sense that, you know, they're just ready to do the static fire. Wes says T-Rex looks like Rex today. RC Dude, welcome. James says, how many engines are they going to fire? All of them? And Austin says, hopefully all of them. Yeah, so we don't exactly know how many engines that they will attempt to static fire today. Of course, we do know that there are rumors that they want to do a full 33 engine static fire. Now, we think it will probably work up to that point. I don't think that we'd necessarily see 33 engine static fire today. But what I will say is, last time we were here for static fire, we didn't expect a long duration static fire, and that's what they gave us. So you never quite know what they're going to do. We could see a single engine, we could see 2, and we could see really any number all the way up to 33. So Booster 7 did return to the orbital launch mount with all 33 of its engines. So that is great to see that they're moving forward with this vehicle. Dreadnought says everything is in the shadow of Artemis. It's going to the friggin' moon. Oh man, I'm excited for Artemis for sure. Is anybody going down to see it? Or are you gonna watch from home? RC Dude asks, do we know why the NASA Artemis tanking stream went down 15 minutes in and went AWOL of YouTube? I missed the start of it. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really know what happened there. Was that specific to our channel? Or was that another? Was that another feed? Six Tiers says, appreciate all the good progress and work the team at SpaceX is doing. Absolutely, they are putting in a lot of hours and work to get these vehicles ready for the orbital flight test, which we hope to see this year. Hopefully within the next couple months at most. Dreadnought says SpaceX, of course, is also awesome. Of course, we are also Team Space. If you know, that's such a common thing to say now, but it's true. We want to see all of these vehicles succeed. The more options we have to get to orbit and to places like the moon and Mars, the better and the cheaper it will be. So we are excited for that. Um, somebody with a name that is not able to be pronounced by me uh, asks, what do you think about Starship viability? Because lately I've been reading a lot, and basically no one outside of SpaceX fan base thinks that the Starship is useful. Um, well, I mean, I think the truth is that this vehicle is designed to be the first ever fully reusable fully reusable exploration class rocket. And if it's able to succeed at that, then we see all those benefits of it being cheaper to get to LEO, low Earth orbit, cheaper to get to the moon, cheaper to get to Mars. And I really think this vehicle could enable us to establish a moon or a base on Mars. It will also be used to land humans on the moon under the NASA Artemis program. Let's not forget about that. Starship is supposed to be the lander vehicle for Artemis. So, until we see this thing fly and get up there and all that stuff, then I think healthy skepticism or speculation and skepticism is completely normal and natural. So I'm glad you asked the question, but I think if they can do what they want to do, this is going to be a really important vehicle and for the history of our species. Roger M says, don't believe it's all engines. The launch pad would tear to pieces without a proper water system.
Yeah, I'm curious how the OLM would hold up to a full 33 engine static fire as it is now. Although I was out at the Boca Chica beach one night when they tested some sort of water suppression system at the OLM. This was a few months ago, so I don't exactly know what it was. It wasn't a lot of water, though. It was more of a sprinkle, so not sure what that was the test of, but I know that they have that in mind. Bennett says, your live video is making me car sick. Bennett, if you're worried about it kind of bouncing up and down, that will be resolved shortly before this thing static fires, so I apologize for that. Liminal, thank you for the comment. No problem, that's what we like to do. Madsen asks, what is happening right now? Someone put a match to a jerry can of gasoline. Nope, so this isn't a fire you're seeing, this is just venting. So this is different gases just interacting with the atmosphere around it. This could be super chilled type gases or like liquid oxygen. They're basically just clouds of vapor. No fire involved with what you're seeing here. This is all very much expected. Dreadnought asks, do you know if SpaceX is 100% going with the catching the booster method? I can tell you 100% that they are still making all of the moves that would indicate that they're going forward for that. So they've upgraded the chopsticks with some dampeners that would be used for catching. So I can tell you they are not. It sounds like Starlink kind of is buffering me and speeding me up, which is affecting my voice. But yeah, so they are going with the catch the booster so far. How much did this cost? It's really hard to say exactly how much this cost. Lucas, I think we'll learn a lot more about the cost of this vehicle when it's operational. Right now, SpaceX is dumping money into it to get this thing to fly. So there's a lot of development costs across the board with this vehicle and the Starbase itself. So. Knowledge Tree asks, hi, today is any launch test of booster or starships? Yes, we will be seeing testing of the booster and or Starship today. We hope to see some static fires here shortly. Knowledge Tree, they are currently going through all the preparations which they need to do on the orbital launch mount and tank farm prior to loading propellant and fuel onto the vehicle. Once they load propellant and fuel onto the vehicle, then they can do a static fire, which means that the engines ignite. It produces thrust, but the vehicle is held down. So we'll see smoke and fire, and it will look really cool. The vehicle won't actually go anywhere today, but this is an important step to making this vehicle ready for orbital launch attempt. No problem, Dreadnoughts. Lucas says, I have the Artemis 1 live stream and this stream on right now. Well, thank you, Lucas, for tuning into both of those streams. This is such an interesting and exciting moment in rocketry history for the species. If SLS launches Monday, it'll be the most powerful rocket ever launched until Starship launches, and then Starship will be the most powerful rocket ever launched. And we could see those events back to back within the course of a month or two. And it's really insane. We're seeing these mega rockets just take shape and are almost ready to launch for the first time at the same time. James asks, what day and month will Starship and Booster go to space? We don't know exactly when, James, but I'll give you my own personal... This is just my own personal opinion. I think there's a 90% chance that it happens before the end of the year. I think there's a 60% chance it happens in the next 2 months. Yeah, maybe 50% chance of happening in the next 2 months. Six tiers. Next chapter of humans writing messages from Mars or another planet in the galaxy to each other. New history happens every moment. Every moment is important in the ongoing history. You all matter. That is very true. We are in such an amazing time to get to experience our solar system. It's really awesome to see this. What is the gas we are seeing, Dreadnought asks. Good question. It could be liquid oxygen. There could be some nitrogen involved, but it's probably liquid oxygen. Well, not liquid oxygen, of course, but it could be the vapors due to the process of everything they need to do with the orbital tank farm relating to liquid oxygen. The big three you hear about down here are liquid oxygen, methane, and nitrogen. And I think there's some helium involved as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think for the COPVs, I would have to double check myself on that one. If anybody knows, feel free to drop that in chat. But I know that they load up these little internal tanks inside the fuel tanks, so when fuel is used up, gas is released from the small tanks to kind of neutralize the pressure inside the vehicle. JHD is what I will call you now. JHD says, I still don't see how this can be a success. I mean, if you see how Boeing, ULA, NASA, JAXA, ISRO, Roscosmos, even SpaceX build their rockets in clean rooms and advanced factories. It's a really great point. They're doing it completely differently. It's a really good point. So I think we just have to kind of wait and see. But the design of this vehicle is supposed to withstand not being built in a clean room. But I'm sure, like, when we start to see crewed vehicles and the moon vehicles and the lunar landers and stuff, I don't think we're going to be seeing them built in a backyard like this. This is part of the test camp. Oop. You might hear me pause from time to time, and that's just for me to let Starlink do its thing. Of course, sometimes our bitrate drops a bit, and I want to make sure that when I'm talking, you have the highest bitrate, so I sound loud and clear. and answering your questions so you can hear them. So that's why I will pause from time to time. Connolly family, thank you, welcome. Your son met astronaut Ken Cameron at Kennedy Space Center the other week. I uploaded the video on my channel. That's really cool. Meeting an astronaut is such an awesome experience. It always is. Getting to meet somebody who's gone up to space and done some science to benefit our life here on Earth is such a moment to reflect on. Something your son will remember forever. That's very cool. James asks, what year is SpaceX planning on going to the moon? I think they're aiming for 2024 for an uncrewed lunar lander test. We'll have to see if they make that timeline, but I think we're looking at 2024 for an uncrewed lander test. Thank you for the question, Vipul. Unfortunately, there will not be any cameras that we have along inside the vehicle or next to the vehicle. We do not expect this vehicle to be launching today. That would be a surprise and a problem. We do expect the rocket engines to ignite today, though, which should be really cool to see. Doppelganger says SpaceX enjoys setting precedent, so keep that faith. Absolutely, absolutely. Lucas says, do you think it's possible to colonize Mars soon? I think if this vehicle succeeds, it could enable us to colonize Mars. I do. I don't know if we're going to see hundreds of people on Mars in the next couple decades, but I think we could see an active crew on Mars that is living and working there for extended periods of time. So one thing that we are going to be looking for is the OLM venting that we see at the base of Booster 7. So if you're looking at the screen right now, we see the orbital launch tower on the right hand side, that the tallest thing in frame right now. And then we see Booster 7, which is just to the left of it underneath those chopsticks. Now if you follow Booster 7 all the way to the bottom, we see the launch platform. That's called the Orbital Launch Mount, or the OLM. And we see a bunch of venting coming from the base of that, a bunch of clouds of vapor coming out. We want to see that stop at some point, which would indicate that they have started the next procedure in their countdown, which would eventually be propellant and fuel load onto the vehicle. So we think, just kind of judging by what we see them do and venting coming from place A and place B, is that we think there's some sort of purge that happens on the orbital launch mount, and then once that purge is done, then they start loading the fuel and propellants in. So that's what we're keeping our eye on now, and once we see that, it would indicate that we're a lot closer to a static fire of Booster 7. We're also keeping a close eye on Ship 24 as well, which is just off to the right hand side, just in case they decide to switch things up and start focusing on testing on Ship 24. Now, it's important to remember that SpaceX could always switch up their testing strategies, so that's why we always want to maintain a a view of Booster 7 right here, just in case they switch something up and end up doing something unexpected. You know, they could static fire earlier than expected as well. So that's why we're keeping our eyes closely peeled here on Booster 7. Whoops. Bear with me just a moment here. I dropped my my phone that I'm reading chat on, so 1 second. Alright, I am back. When we do have a strong indication that static fire would be imminent, we will we'll make sure that the camera is not shaking, and we will try to get you some audio as well to see if you can hear the static fire. We could be seeing possible engine chill via the new pipe. What type of propellant is used? This vehicle is fueled by methane and liquid oxygen as a propellant. Right, Liminal, I think they say that the best part is no part. If you can eliminate complexity, you could potentially make a better and more safe vehicle. SpaceX and science are amazing as always. I agree, Vipul. Those are some things that people find to be passionate about. And a lot of people kind of focus their lives around science and space for a lot of people as well. JHD, I would say that for a very, very long time we saw rockets that were disposed of after each launch. They were not reused rockets. And you could say that those engineers and space programs around the world built their rockets in that way to be expendable. But we have seen SpaceX change it up with the Falcon 9 and made it fully reusable. And that wasn't done before. So keep that in mind too. So we're seeing that SpaceX has completed a spin prime test, which is often a test that we see before a static fire attempt. We've never actually seen a static fire prior to spin prime testing. That was one thing we were a little bit wondering about today is, you know, are they going to static fire for the first time without doing spin prime testing? But it looks like they've just completed some spin prime testings, which could be a really good indication that we are looking forward to a static fire here. Dreadnought says, let's hope the overview effect is 100% human successful. More people that go to space, the more people have championed the health and well-being of the planet and everyone on it. I agree completely. That's something I would love to experience in my own lifetime, but people that go to space often have a more connected feeling to the planet and the people around them. Tree Fingers, that is very true. Tree Finger says, when you're government funded, It must be perfect in execution or risk losing the program. SpaceX has the luxury of deep pockets, which allows rapid development testing. It is very true. They are a privately funded organization. Now, some of their funding comes through contracts via the government, but they are pretty much in charge of where they spend their money, so that is a great point. Now, we're hearing that a 3-engine spin prime would completed. That leads me to believe that if we're going to see a static fire today, it's going to be a 3-engine static fire. JHD, that is a very good point. It's only the first stage that is reusable, but that is a major percentage of the cost involved. Yeah, I think that spin prime is a great example of what I was saying just a little bit while ago. Oh, I want to take a quick moment to thank John Fair's Gold Panning School for the super chat. We really appreciate that. I just want to remind you that this is the only way we can do this with your support like that. So thank you so much for that, John Fairs. That means a lot to us. You're helping us, accomplish our goals and trying to get all this footage and content out to those people that want to get excited about what's happening in space. This is something that comes from our passion. We are really excited about all the stuff that's happening, and we're so excited to see other people excited about it as well. And the more people that get to see what's happening with space, the better. And if more people can find space to be a passion of theirs, I think that's a great thing. And with your support, we can get this content out to more people and better content at that. So thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Cami says, oh, I'm going to pause for just a second. Absolutely, doppelganger. Space is better together. That is so true. A couple more questions here, but I do want to just finish a thought I had a moment ago. So the fact that we saw those spin primes does indicate that SpaceX can kind of just dive into the testing, kind of an unexpected timeline. So I would keep a real close eye on Booster 7. I think we're going to have some sort of notice prior to the static fire that happens, but Just in case, I'd keep your eye on it. John asks, will the booster QD remain connected during a multi-engine test? I do believe so. I don't think that they're going to remove that or pull it back.
Now it's possible that they could do something unexpected with the QD, but I would expect it to stay in place there.
No sirens this time around, Doppelganger says. Oop. I will pause again. Just give me a moment here. All right, sorry about that. I just wanted to check on something. So sorry, to answer your question about the siren, we do expect to hear a siren prior to the static fire, but just in case, we miss it or something along those lines, we just want to make sure that we're keeping our eye out just to make sure. Was that a car sound? Yeah. I was just checking on something with my Jeep. So this is our stable shot that we will have hopefully prior to a static fire. Once we get that indication that it is imminent. So it looks real good. So we just have some heat distortion. That's kind of the blurriness that you see a little bit. But this is how stable will be for a static fire. But for now, I do want to keep our equipment cool. So give me another second here. Now with technology, I'm gonna wait just a second here for our bit rate. John Ferris says, space is for everyone. There should be no prejudice in our future space endeavors. John Ferris, very well said. I couldn't agree anymore. West gives 2 thumbs up. Thank you, West. Dreadnought says, how far away are you filming from? I am about 5 miles from the launch pad, Dread. Doppelganger says, looks great. Thank you, Doppel. Cami says, when is static fire planned? Cami, we don't know exactly when the static fire will happen. We have some indications usually when it's about to happen, so hopefully we'll be able to give you a heads up. But I would keep a close eye on the booster just in case it happens unexpectedly. But generally speaking, we usually have about a 10-minute heads up. Treefinger says, did you say you're hosting from your car? That is cool. Yeah. We are currently in the Jeep. I've shared some photos of the Jeep before on the Twitter, so make sure you're following the official TLPN official Twitter account. We can drop a link in the chat for that. But if you want to follow me directly as well, you can. On Twitter, you can find me at @SRocketFuture. That is @SRocketFuture. But make sure to follow all our socials for the Launchpad official. That way you can keep up to date with what we're up to. Where is that? We are looking at Starbase, which is in Boca Chica, Texas, all the way down near the border of Mexico. The live stream is brought to you by Andrew's Car and Starlink. Yep. So we have a Jeep set up with some battery packs. We got a camera and Starlink mounted on the back of the Jeep. Cool little rig, and it allows us to keep everything cool away from the sun when we need to. No, I am on South Padre Island. M. Gabriel says, how is the booster clamped down? There are multiple connections on the booster. I forget how many there are on the top of my head. If anybody knows, feel free to pop them in the chat. But I recommend looking at some of those pictures and videos of how those work. It's really cool to see. Thank you, Dreadnought. I appreciate that. Cami, how far is the camera from this facility? About 5 miles. Michelle P., welcome. How are you? Good to see you. I have not seen any deep pressure or detanking after that spin prime, which is a great indication. Noah, this is far from California. Yep. West just says put a pork roast in the oven. Hopefully, so it warms my home. That should be good. That sounds really good right now, West. .A, welcome. Thank you. No problem, M. Gabriel. Anchorage, Alaska, Lucas. Yeah, that must be cool up there. 20 clamps, says Stratoblaster. I'm doing good, Michelle. It's an exciting day. Hopefully we'll see some static fires today. And later on there's a presentation at Starbase. So that should be cool. Excuse me. Just want to take a moment to bring everybody up to speed if they have just joined. Again, my name is Andrew, and you are watching the launch pad. We have a live view of Starbase at Boca Chica, Texas, where SpaceX is planning to light up some of these rocket engines on Booster 7, which is what we're looking at right now. This is, of course, in preparation to get this vehicle prepared for an orbital launch attempt, hopefully sometime in the next couple months. Something we do expect to see this year, we hope. And we just want to thank everybody for coming to hang out with us and for chatting, answering or asking any of the questions that you have. Your support is so appreciated, whether you're just watching along, whether you're asking questions in chat, interacting with each other. It's really cool to see everybody kind of become friends in the chat there. If you become a member or do any super chats, you're going above and beyond in helping us reach more people and get more people excited about this stuff. So we do appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. We are still hanging out here for a while to watch Booster 7 static fire. Could happen pretty soon. We're going to be looking out for those hints that it's imminent, so we are keeping a close eye. It's been 40 degrees Celsius here every day for the last 4 weeks, John. Wow, that's crazy. What is the next stage for the rocket after this test? David JM asks. Next test, we would expect to see some additional static fires of the booster and the ship. After the static fire campaigns are complete, we would expect SpaceX to lift Ship 24 on top of the booster using those chopstick arms. And after the stack is complete, there may be additional testing to be done. And then once they've finished with the test campaign, that's when we expect to see a launch scheduled. It's sunny up there, Lucas. Very good, very good. John plans to be down at SpaceX for the first launch. Where's the best safe vantage point to watch from? John, I would recommend looking into Isla Blanca Park. Again, take a look at Isla Blanca Park. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but yeah, it's just a park at the tip of South Padre Island. We get a great view. I saw rumors that they might be extending the exclusion zone past the park, which would mean you can't go there. But anywhere on the beach on the southern side of SPI, the further south you are, the better. Noah says, is this for Starship? Yep, this is the booster that will bring Starship to orbit. Dreadnought says, some channels would just give you footage, but you answer the questions from people in the chat, which is a great thing. We would love to interact and answer any questions. This is, this is a community, and the community just continues to grow when, people hang out and interact with not just us, not just with questions, but interact with each other. That's really cool to see. Chelsea says, I'm new here and I love it. I'm watching from the Netherlands, and I'll also be there on August 29th with the Artemis 1 launch. That's awesome. Chelsea, I hope you really enjoy that. That's really cool. Welcome, and thanks for tuning in. Noah asks what time it is for me. It is 1:48 p.m. Do we know how many engines are going to be tested today? Well, we did see a spin prime of 3 engines, so I would expect that we might see 3 engines static fire. Excuse me. My throat's getting dry. I'm going to need some water here. Doppelganger is hoping for or fixing for a test flight sometime soon. Same here. So, you may have just noticed the Starlink drop there, and that was because there was a giant bird on top of the Starlink dish. We just got birded. Noah, even if you are in school, I hope they let you watch SLS. That would be really cool. Hopefully by the end of the year. That's what we're thinking. That's what we're hoping, at least. Give me just a moment here while I am trying to dig my phone out of the seat that fell earlier. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Jarek, hopefully we might see 3, but we'll have to see. 83 degrees Fahrenheit there. 104 today. Wow. That is hot. Texas has been seeing some of that heat as well. Chelsea says, I still have a lot to learn, but I've always immersed myself in space and everything that goes with it. Very cool. It's a great way to kind of get educated about something that is scientific and helpful, so that's really cool. And now with the images from the new James Webb Space Telescope and the launch in a few days of Artemis 1, it just got my attention more and more. Well, Chelsea, it's definitely something that for a lot of people it's exponential. So like as soon as you start getting into it, you get into it really quickly, and then especially if you go see a launch or something, you're going to be like just full speed ahead looking at space stuff. Yeah, that was a fast boat that went by there. Yeah, Lucas, that's why we holding off on comms for just a second. But yeah, we are very happy to be able to bring this content to your home or wherever you're watching this from. And thanks for interacting, Lucas, in the chat. Just checking in on all of our information feeds just to see if we've learned anything new. We are still holding tight. We know that there hasn't been a depress. We are waiting to see a static fire. Thanks for joining, Noah. We'll see you soon. Is the Starlink 423 launch still on for the 28th? Yes, it is. I'm gonna hope to catch that in person, as right up there with the SLS launch as well, which I'm really excited about. You're native Alaskan? That's cool, Lucas. Your family kind of always been from Alaska for like as far as you can tell? Yep, Saturday night Stratoblaster for the Starlink launch. Now, SpaceX does have a presentation that is scheduled for Starbase tonight. I think they're expecting people to arrive there at like 5. I don't think the presentation starts for a little bit after that. So you would think that they would need to get the show on the road here on testing pretty soon. Dreadnought says, now that the venting has stopped, does that mean it's all pressurized and ready to go? So it is a good thing that we saw the venting from the orbital launch mount stop, which indicates that the purge was done, and then of course they had to load some LOX onto the vehicle to do those spin prime tests. And they definitely didn't pausing for a second for Starlink. They definitely didn't use up all the LOX in there for the test. Sorry. So yeah, if they were done with testing, I would have expected to see a big depress. I still think that there's at least propellant in the vehicle, and we'll have to keep a close eye on to see if they've loaded fuel and to see if we're going to be looking at a static fire hit test here. Doppelganger, I will be in Florida. I will. I don't have. So I'll be on the event that we're doing the day before launch. I'll be there, so hopefully I'll see you there if you're going. I won't be on the media site for launch day, though. How much incidental glass gets created with SRB tests? I recall there was a huge cloud of dust during the last few. That's a great question, actually. I don't know how to answer the question about how much gets created, but it's really cool. If you haven't seen those SRB tests, I recommend popping on a YouTube video of an SLS SRB test. Really cool to see. They just blasted away at some sand in the desert, and I guess some glass gets created because of the heat. Yep, SLS is on Monday. Oh yeah, sorry, Dread. You caught me at when I was having some low bit rate. So yeah, so it's a good indication that there is still some propellant in the vehicle, and that they haven't detanked is a great step, indicating that they are not done with testing. If that answers the question. Stratoblaster says, are you originally from Canada? Me personally, I am not, but I know some of the members from TLP, including Zach, I think is from Canada. I am from originally the northeast of the U.S. Shaky cam, not steady cam. Lawrence, we should trademark that. But we will have a steady cam when we are getting close to T-0 of a static fire. This will be a very solid shot. Welcome back, Noah. Robo Vampire Kitty says, perhaps our children's children could be Martian natives. That is possible. That would be really crazy. That would be crazy. Chelsea, maybe a stupid question about the SLS launch. When is the European time of the launch? The launch pad answered you right in chat there. Thank you for that, mods. Thanks, Benjamin. Roger M says 3-engine spin. Yeah, we saw a 3-engine spin. Now we're hoping for a 3-engine static fire. John is from planet Earth. Wind is a bugger. Yep, quite a windy day out here, actually. Some of the vibration is from our air conditioning unit, though. So I usually just will shut off the air conditioning right before T-0 of a static fire or whatever we might be seeing. I'm going to take a quick moment to check in on some info to see if we've learned anything new. Just give me a quick moment here. Alright, so here is the current state. We saw OLM purging, so that's something we see before they load propellant into the vehicle. They loaded some locks into the vehicle and did a spin prime test, and there was no sign of any major detanking or depress, so that is an indication that testing is not done for the day. We do know that there's an overpressure notice sent to locals, so we are expecting to see some static fire testing here today. But at the moment, we're kind of just hanging out, waiting to see an indication of them moving forward. Right now, they could be doing anything. They could be reviewing data. They could be going through a shift change, though I don't know if that happens at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I don't think it's a shift change, but they could be reviewing data. They could also shift gears to ship 24. So I am personally keeping an eye on the suborbital tank farm and launch site for an indication that they're spinning up testing on ship 24. Or anytime in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half hour, we could see that next indication that Booster 7 is being prepared for a static fire. So we're just hanging out and waiting to see what happens next and see what SpaceX has in store for us today. Roger thinks Starship will be launching next year. Zero identity. What do you mean? Surviving what exactly? Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Also keeping my eyes on the sky here as well for two reasons. One, we saw a flyby of 2 military aircraft that were arriving for an air show this weekend. So I'm keeping my eyes to see if we see any more of those. But I'm also keeping my eye on the cloud situation. Does look like there's quite a lot of clouds going on the horizon. Nothing too big above me at the moment, so no imminent concern for rain or anything like that. But definitely not the clearest day that we've had out here. I will say that Starlink is doing, while Starlink does have some hiccups every now and then, performing pretty well here today for us, with the exception of, those occasional hiccups. And the cloud cover is pretty heavy, so we've had Starlink issues a couple times during streams, and we thought, could it be related to clouds? And I'm thinking that it might not be necessarily related to clouds, and more so just Starlink is still pretty early on in its development, and we should see Starlink V2 being launched pretty soon. And there's going to be an announcement tonight from T-Mobile and SpaceX about some partnership they're doing related to Starlink. So it's going to be cool to see Starlink grow as a service. It is what we're using to bring you this stream here. Not sponsored or anything along those lines, but we are, that's what's allowing us to stream to you today. I feel like this person might walk right in front of my camera. Hold on, they're probably going to say hi. Oh, no worries, man. What's going on? Nice.
Are you with NSF?
No, the launch pad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. What about you? You out here shooting pictures?
I was full-time RVing and
Nice.
big space geek and
Nice.
hoping to catch some action. Hopefully.
Yeah.
today.
So it looks like they probably did spin prime earlier, so I think we're still holding them for a static fire, potentially. They don't look like...
Do you all have a live stream or is it just
Yep.
your camera?
Yep, if you, the launch pad on YouTube, we're live on there.
Okay, cool. That's
So,
neat. Yeah.
yeah.
How are you liking Starlink so far?
It's pretty good. It's not the final solution yet. There's definitely hiccups from time to time, but
Are you closer to 50 or like 150?
it really depends. It's all over the place. But like it's almost good enough to have a perfect stream, but every few minutes it'll drop for a couple seconds, like just to a low enough bit rate. But
Gotcha.
yeah.
Cool. That's cool. It's like, I was at Starbucks the other day and I ran into Tim.
Oh, nice.
It's like, man, this is of course, a hotbed for.
Have you actually drove out to the Starbase yet?
Yeah, I did that because when I stayed in Brownsville, but it was like hotter and there wasn't like much to do.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, if I'm gonna suffer, I'm gonna be like at least in a beautiful spot.
Fair enough. Cool.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna go probably grab my motorcycle and my backpack. That way I don't have to like carry this stuff around and get a nice cold drink.
Cool.
But yeah, my name's John. What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, John.
Launchpad.
Yeah, the launch pad.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Sounds good.
Sweet.
I'm sure I'll see you around here.
Yeah.
See ya. Oh, it's always fun to meet people that are coming here just to see what's going on and checking out SpaceX and being excited about it. It's just so awesome to see. We just met John. He was all jazzed up about what's happening here, which is really cool. All right, back to the questions. John says first to the moon and then Mars. That is the plan, John, and I would love to see it happen in that order. Really cool to go back to the moon and make sure that we're practiced up and ready to go to Mars when that time comes. Benjamin says going to sleep later. Thanks for coming, Benjamin. Roger, that was not him. This was somebody named John who was visiting. Doppelganger says connection is a little bit spotty. It does kind of come in and out. But yeah, let's hope it remains stable. Well, I think I'm seeing some additional venting from the base here now. Let me check on that. Let me just finish up any of these questions that we have here. Welcome back, Noah. Raptor 2 engines look harder to ignite. Some say it's a different ignition system. So Roger, based on what we've learned from the Starbase tour videos that we've seen, it sounds like Elon said the standard type of igniter was removed and that they used a special type of system that he wouldn't really talk about to ignite Raptor 2s, which is really cool. Amanda Moore, welcome. Michelle P, a windy day. It is pretty windy, but most of the vibration you're seeing is from our air conditioning unit, keeping all of our equipment cool so we can make sure we can keep bringing you this coverage. We don't want anything overheating, but we do shut off the AC prior to static fire or any event, so we'll have a nice stable shot for you when that happens. Zero says, wouldn't it be possible to install a gimbal, or wouldn't that really work with the cooling system? We did actually add some dampening into how the camera is mounted today, and we do see a big improvement, though obviously you're still seeing that vibration, so we're not 100% there yet. But this is a big improvement over what we were having a couple days ago with our testing. So we'll just keep working on it. We'll get better. But yeah, like gimbals and some dampeners and all that stuff certainly help. We'll keep, iteration. We're kind of like SpaceX here, in where we keep iterating on our setup and making it a little bit better each time we do it. We've changed cameras. We've upgraded the mount for the cameras and the mount for Starlink. We still have a couple bugs here with Starlink, but it is getting better, and we're continuing to look into how to give you the best looking, most stable stream possible. And I think we've made a lot of progress there, and we're going to keep making progress there. So we are super kind of excited and jazzed about putting our time into this to making sure that it's the best experience for y'all. So and just to repeat there, in case I was in a signal break, I'm seeing additional clouds coming from the bottom of the vehicle, so I'm hoping that they are starting to progress forward in their attempt to do a static fire today. So let's see. Give you a few moments of stable cam here to check in on what is happening, to see if we can get any better sight on any venting that might be happening on the orbital launch mount or the base of booster 7. So let's just keep an eye on that. No, we're still not sure when a static fire might happen, but we do see additional venting at the base of the vehicle in the last few minutes, so we're hoping that they're moving closer to a T0 for a static fire. But we will have bigger indications that it'll be near. As we get closer, it should be more obvious to us, so. Roger asks, am I going to be watching the SLS launch? Yes, I will be watching from Kennedy Space Center, actually. I won't be at the press site for that one. I know some of the TLP members will be covering that launch, I believe. But I am going with a couple friends, and I'm going to sit back and enjoy the launch, and I'm really excited to see it. All right, we will go back to shaky cam for a few minutes. Strato Blaster, I'll actually just be at the main visitor center, so I won't be at the Field of Heat or the Field of Fun ticket viewing. I'll just be right at the main visitor complex, which we won't have a view of the pad, but we should see SLS just after it launches, a couple seconds when it clears the tree line. So unfortunately won't be at one of the very close sites, but I cannot wait anyway. Will I record the SLS launch? I know there will definitely be a lot of SLS launch coverage and content from the launch pad and our channel. Me personally, I might have a camera up for launch. We'll see what I end up doing with that. But there are going to be a lot of launch. There's a lot of people from our channel, the Launchpad, that will have cameras running for that. And so be sure you check in and take a look at all the content we get. Roger M. Yeah, if you take a tour around, you can definitely see all those other hangars. There's also different types of boat tours and stuff that you can get around that area. And from the boat tours, you get a great view of the different launch sites from like Blue Origin, and yeah, it's really cool actually. I'd recommend it. David, are they looking for a box of matches to light the fuse? I think so. Let's light this thing. Strato Blaster says, super cool to be anywhere within 10 miles. Absolutely. Even further, to be honest with you. Even if you're 20 miles away from that thing, I'm sure you'll still see it and probably hear it. For anybody just joining, we are holding tight. SpaceX has completed three engine spin prime based on what we can tell. That was a while ago now, and they have not depressed the vehicle. We think that they're probably still in propellant load from what we can tell, which would indicate that they might being prepared for a static fire. There was an overpressure notice sent out, so we do expect that SpaceX wants to do a static fire today, so we are holding tight with a close eye on Booster 7 in case we see this thing light up. That's what we want today. Physics, welcome. Thanks for joining. I'm not entirely sure what you might be asking for, but please feel free to try to elaborate, and I'll see if I can do my best to answer you. Teresa says, where are they going? Today they are staying nicely propped up on the launch pad. They're not going anywhere today if everything goes according to plan. We do hope to see the rocket engines ignite for a static fire test today, though. Noah says, my sandwich, it has sand. Oh, that happens sometimes. Are you at the beach there, Noah? while we are waiting for any indication of the next test for SpaceX today, don't forget to subscribe and like the content if you want to see all of the streams that will be leading up to an orbital flight test of Starship. Not only are we covering Starship, we're covering SLS as well and the Artemis program. So if you want to be up to date with all that and see our streams that are covering all of those events, including pretty much every launch that happens, it really helps out to just click the subscribe button and like the videos. We really do appreciate any of the support. And if you're just here hanging out and watching and chatting as well, we appreciate that too. So thank you so much. Been having some really great questions today, actually. Really appreciating the back and forth between, you know, not only myself and y'all, but you guys are chatting back and forth with each other as well, which is great to see. A nice strong community hanging out, waiting for SpaceX to light some engines up. You might be asking yourselves, how do we know that there is more testing coming? Well, there's two indications. One, they have not depressed the vehicle from what we can tell. And two, usually after they're done testing, they will lower those chopstick arms that are above the booster back down towards the base of the booster, or at least towards the top of the booster. But they are in a nice, safe, clear distance right now, which they have done previously before static fire testing. There's also an overpressure notice, so we are hoping to see a static fire of booster 7. Next step, dynamic fire testing. I think Joe bipolar, that would indicate a launch, and that would be something we would love to see, absolutely. Dreadnought says the reason I'm still watching is because I know it will be worth the wait. Thank you, Dreadnoughts, we appreciate that. And because of the launch pad, that means a lot to us. Thank you, Dreadnoughts. John Ferris, I wish they would just get on with it. Same here, John, same here. Would love to see them light this thing up today. Bring you back stable cam here for a few. You're gonna hear some doors here in a second. Actually, let me just mute you for a quick sec. Alright, that saves your ears from loud door noises. I have my eyes out on booster 7 right now. We're kind of in this point where some of the things we expect to see prior to a test have happened. Some of the indications that they are moved on to the next step of the test have not happened. But I'd like to remind everybody that we do see changes in these workflows and in these processes, and sometimes SpaceX changes things up, and we get a test when we're least expecting it. So we're just gonna keep an eye out on Booster 7 right now to see if we see what the next indication is. Let me check on questions. Dreadnought says, what does ST and SP mean? I think you meant SF and not ST. Yeah, so SF is static fire, meaning that they ignite the engines. The vehicle doesn't go anywhere, but they test the engines and do a full ignition. SP is a spin prime test, which means they load liquid oxygen onto the vehicle and then push that through the turbo pumps of the engine just to make sure that everything spins up okay. I am right along there with you, Noah. I'm in the same boat. I want to find my hat. Oh, there it is. I'll be there. How can I get that hat from here? Just a second. Alright, mission success. I got the hat. I'm gonna go check on our camera and mount. Alright, all of our quick check in on our equipment. Everything is looking good. The John guy that I met just a few minutes ago just swang back through and said he forgot his wallet. That's not good. Oh, thanks, Alan. I appreciate that. Thank you, Alan. Teresa, this is Boca Chica, Texas, that we're looking at, Starbase, where SpaceX is developing their next generation exploration class rocket. It's designed to be the first ever reusable exploration class rocket, which is really cool. This is the Starship vehicle, of course. We're looking at Super Heavy, which is the first stage of the vehicle. We're hoping to see it light up some engines. Yeah, Alan, that's how I would pronounce it. How do you pronounce it? I don't know if you can like phonetically spell it out or something, maybe. Aline, maybe? Alin or Aline or... Are those birds really small and very close, or very big but far away? The ones that you're talking about I don't see anymore, but pretty much all of the birds around here are pretty dang big. So probably somewhere in the middle. Edmund says, good afternoon from the central coast of California, about 40 miles from Vandenberg Space Force Base. Very cool, Edmund. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Thanks for stopping in and chatting. Have you ever seen a launch at Vandenberg, or have you at least heard a launch at Vandenberg? I know a lot of times, I think I just said Vandenberg, a lot of times it's really foggy there. Are there any crows? There's a lot of grackles, which are similar to crows but bigger. I think there are probably some crows too. More of those grackles, though. Pretty much just Alan, nothing special. Gotcha. You have not seen a launch from Vandenberg yet. Oh, sorry, so sorry. Yep, fog most of the summer. Gotcha. You can see at the base of boosters, checking on bitrate. Hold on, give me a second. Alright, you can see at the base of the OLM, it's still kind of foggy down there. That means that there's still some sort of venting happening from the launch mount or booster itself. We are hoping to see an indication that they are moving forward for static fire testing, but we're just being patient and sitting tight for now, answering any questions you might have, and just hanging out with chat. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us. That is a good point, Miller. That's a good point, Miller. There is that as T-Mobile event later. Sorry, my phone. But sorry, just got distracted by a text. But yeah, that is a good point. There is an event later at Starbase. It's some sort of event where SpaceX and T-Mobile are announcing something. Something to do with Starlink and connectivity and trying to expand connectivity. It's about all we know so far. We're really excited to see what they're going to be talking about there. I'll be out there probably. And will they wait to do a static fire if they get too close to that time frame? Like, are they... It's really hard to say. There's no way to kind of speculate on what their timeline will be today prior to that event. I would imagine they're going to have to reopen the road prior to that event. But I don't think we have to worry about that for a couple hours. NOAA sees 200 crows a day. No word on static fire timing yet, Foot. We're hoping they got a window open until 10 p.m. tonight Central Time. But I think that they really only have a couple hours left to get something done due to that other event. Hello from Calgary. Oh yeah, I read that one. Go Foot. Dreadnoughts, if the wind suddenly picks up. David, do we know if the controls are configured so that the test can be sequenced circumferentially or in segmented orders? We don't quite know. Sorry, Starlink cut me off there. We don't quite know how they're going to do additional engine static fires yet and what kind of sequence they'll do them in. We have to just kind of wait and see. But that's a great question. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I think we'll learn pretty soon, I think. Hello from Georgia. Welcome. No problem, David. Alan says, am I the only guy from Europe? I don't know who... well, Dreadnought's from England. Brandon, welcome from Deltona, Florida. Hoping the test happens soon. Same here. But Alan, we have people from Europe all the time. All over Europe. Eastern, Western. It's pretty cool. Hello from the United States. Hello, future Santa Joe. Technology, I'm in Europe. I think that's supposed to say technically. That's funny. Animals are the best. I agree with you there, Noah. Alan is from Central Europe. Very cool. Slovenia. Mega is from Sweden and looking at the stream with a Starlink Gen 1. Very cool, Mega. So I am uploading this stream to you via Starlink and you are receiving it from Starlink. So that's cool. So this stream is going up to space via my Starlink and then transferring around different Starlink satellites back down to a ground station here on Earth. And then back up to space and back down to you, I think. I think that's how it'll work. Lou, no boom yet, and we want to see a successful boom at the base, a very controlled boom of the booster here, or the boomster, you might say. But you're not wrong. This rocket has gone boom before. This is Booster 7. There was a bit of an explosion underneath the base of Booster 7 a few weeks ago, but they have restored the vehicle and it's now back on the pad. Sorry if I got cut off there. But yeah, Booster 7 had that issue a few weeks ago, but it's now back on the pad. I'm seeing a lot more venting happening now. Okay, let's see what this could mean. This could mean we are getting into the next phase of testing here, everybody. So pay a close attention to Booster 7. We see a lot of venting happening from the orbital launch mount. I'm going to try to see if I can figure out where that's coming from, which will give us a good indication on what's going to happen next. So give me a minute here. All right. So this is a good sign that something is happening. So we've been hanging out here for the last hour or so, just waiting for SpaceX to indicate that something is continuing to happen. We knew that they didn't depress the vehicle, so we knew testing wasn't over. Now that we're seeing all this venting again from the orbital launch mount, we're gonna have to wait just a few minutes to see kind of what happens with that vent, and if we see indications that the booster is being prepared for static fire. So We could be getting back to that point, which is very, very good. So let's hold tight for a few more minutes. I'm going to look very closely and see if I can try to make some sense based off of what we're seeing here. Put my analysis cap on and see what we got. Brandon thinks it could be... So Brandon thinks it could be a reset or abort. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Could be a good indication that we're resetting, but I still don't see a big depress vet, so that's good. Yeah, Brandon thinks this is depress. Could be. It could be. But that doesn't mean that testing is over. Could be possible recycle. Yep. All right. So here's the deal, folks. It is currently 3 o'clock Eastern Time. There's an event at Starbase where media is showing up at 5 o'clock, or shortly after 5 o'clock Central Time. Did I say Eastern or earlier? It's 3 o'clock Central. There's an event at 5:30 Central. If they're going for a recycle, they're going to have to do it quick. However, I think the chances of us seeing a static fire at this point are definitely not impossible, but the more time goes by, the less likely it is. Now, we are actually hoping to be on site for this presentation at Starbase today. And we will be live tweeting about the event, and anything we learn from the event you will find out through us. So that means that we're going to have to wrap things up in just a little bit here so we can go prepare for that event and get down to Starbase. So if anybody has any last minute questions, we're going to hang out here for another 10 minutes and see what's happening with the booster. But I'd love the opportunity to answer any last minute questions you have. And then we'll do a proper sign off here, but I did want to give everybody a heads up that we're going to be wrapping up in just under 10 minutes. Excuse me. So we can actually get to this event. Hey Dreadnoughts, I really appreciate that. Thank you for answering questions. Oh no, thank you for asking the questions. You're just you hanging out here and hanging out, asking questions, talking in chat. That's just so great. So thank you so much. Welcome Jeffrey, welcome. Lou, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that comment. Thank you, thank you. I love being here and doing this for y'all. I really do. Yeah, future Santa Joe, definitely keep checking out on all of our socials, and hopefully we can get you an answer on that one. Sounds good, Future. We'll see you next time. Thank you, David. We'll see you next time as well. Marco, no static fire test yet. And we're going to be wrapping up stream here in about 5 minutes because Starbase is preparing for an event tonight. So we're going to try to get out to that event. So we got to prepare for that and make our way out there.
See you, Lucas. Let us know. Let me know what you're actually watching. I'm curious. Rocket launches today. We will do live coverage of the event. Stay tuned. Just a reminder, folks, we're going to be wrapping up here in 3 minutes, so it's your time to answer any questions. And then I'll do a sign off here and thank everybody as well shortly. But in the meantime, I can kind of slowly get started with all that stuff. So I've said it a couple times today, but I do want to just go through this spiel one more time and just say thank you so much for the support, everybody. I'm talking from people who are here just watching and lurking in the background, having us on in the background while they do some work or eat their dinner. Thank you to everybody that chatted today, not only with us, but with each other. It really means a lot to see people talking to each other and enjoying some conversations happening in the community. Thank you for the super chats and the follows and the memberships. Thank you for liking the channel and for subscribing if you want to see more content like this in coming days, weeks, and months. And all of these things really just help us do what we do. We just want to bring this content to y'all and get as many people as we can excited about all this and just share our passion with everybody. And that's really what it's all about. Our mods said it best earlier. Space is better together. That's one of our big mottos here at the launch pad. So thanks, everybody. We're wrapping up here in about a minute. Now's your time to get any last minute questions in. Ophelia says this was definitely on while I was working. Very good, very good. Noah L, we are going to be wrapping up because we have an event at Starbase to get to tonight. Okay. It is now 3:10 Central Time. No indication of an imminent static fire attempt. We're going to call it here, but make sure you keep in touch with our socials. Today specifically, we're going to be hopefully live at Starbase and just tweeting some updates about what's happening between the announcement today from Starbase. So again, a big announcement from Starbase later on. We're going to be talking all about it. We're going to be there taking pictures and videos and all of that great stuff. So thank you everybody so much for coming. We couldn't tell you how much we appreciate you. We appreciate you a lot. It's true. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. My name is Andrew. This is the Launchpad. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.